guys, welcome to this episode of Chat with Nat. I am really, really, really happy today because I have one of my good friends in the studio with me, Warda. I'm laughing because one of the things that I'm going to talk to her about is her making sure that I'm pronouncing her name correctly and her correcting me. Wada is a really, really good friend of mine who does so many things, very accomplished in her profession, in what she does. But we probably won't get into that today. The main reason why I wanted Wada to come on is we always have a lot of conversation about just different things, about being women, about being minorities in the UK, and some of the similarities that we have, just about diversity, what that looks like, just about, just the struggles and opportunities that we have navigating who we are. And we've had open and honest conversations just about our communities, me being a Zimbabwean woman. What does that mean? What is our culture? What is our language? And her being a Somali woman and sharing, her culture, her food, her language, and stuff that I honestly didn't know. And we had a conversation and I thought, you know what, Wada, I would love to have you on because I'm pretty sure there's so many people like me who, may have friends or interact with different people, but just don't know enough about other people's cultures and sometimes feel a bit like, I shouldn't really ask, and we then maybe get things wrong or make assumptions. So this is just a conversation between friends, which I hope you will receive warmly at home. Bear with me. I may get some things wrong and possibly, with the intent of being corrected by what is that we learn. And we actually learn from each other. And I really just wanted Wada on just to have, just an understanding of like the Somali culture. And before I sort of hand it over to Wada, just for context, like as a Zimbabwean, a lot of the stuff, I think Somalia as a country, right, like would always kind of have the whole like, things are bad, but things are worse in Somalia. Like literally that would be the narrative, right? It's always kind of like, this is happening, but there's hunger in Somalia. And you kind of just have that narrative. Then you travel to the UK, and then you meet people and you realize that actually there's a lot more about people's culture and there's a lot more richness, right? A lot more beauty, and a lot more similarities. So that was a long monologue, but I just kind of wanted to kind of explain it to you guys so that, it's going to be hopefully comfortable, sometimes uncomfortable conversation, but just with the hope that we learn from each other. So I'll keep quiet now. Hi, Wada.
Hi, Natasha. Thank you very much for having me. That was a great introduction. And in answer to your first question.
Yeah. Oh, I think bring your mic in.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm doing this. But thank you very much for having me. That was a great introduction. And in response to your first question, my name is pronounced Warda. That is how my mum says it.
Yeah.
But people who speak English primarily have a very difficult time pronouncing that rolling R.
Yeah.
So it's Warda. Let's see if you can kind of keep that up for the rest of the time we're filming. But yeah.
So guys, if you're watching, like just make a note, like if I get it wrong. Warda.
Close. Yeah.
Warda.
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 Yeah.
What does it mean?
So the translation is probably very close to either like flower or rose.
Oh.
So yeah.
Oh, that makes sense because I don't know if you'd mind me saying what your Instagram is.
Yes. So yeah, very close to what my Instagram name is.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah.
I just thought, because sometimes you don't know. Like, I just saw wildflower. I just thought, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly how it came about.
Really? Yeah. Oh, that is amazing. Is it a type of flower?
No. So I think it just means flower. And obviously, I mean, the most kind of common flower that people kind of romanticize is probably the rose. So, but yeah, it literally just translates to flower. And it's a name that has Arabic origins.
Yeah.
There is a Somali version. I don't know why my mum went with my name. That's a question that I might have to sit down and ask her when I get some time. But yeah, that's what it means.
Really? So it's an Arabic name.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Malaika. You know, like Malaika's Arabic, and it's also Swahili as well.
Yeah.
Means angel.
Yeah, a lot of the names given to people who kind of live in the Horn or sometimes in countries that neighbour Islamic or countries that have like large Muslim populations, there's a lot of Arabic influence in naming culture.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And then so one thing that we spoke about was like the naming of names, right? And the sort of rich history of it, right? So if you can talk to us about how in the Somali culture, okay, I'll ask this question and I realize that there's another question that I need to ask to kind of take a step back. But I was just interested in that, in how in the Somali culture, people are given names.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And it only comes about when people, for instance, ask questions, especially around the time when people, for instance, are like asking questions like, oh, will you take your husband's surname? Those kind of silly topics that always come up. So Somali naming culture. Yeah. Your name is your lineage. So your name is literally a line of your paternal ancestors, going from your dad all the way back. I think now you have to forgive me because I'm a child of immigrants who's born and raised in the UK. So I do not know all 27 or 28 of my names, but I know my lineage goes back to the 18th century. Wow. To one particular person who was settled in East Africa. And so that is an identifier to not only my common family, but to everybody else who lives in the part of Somaliland that my parents are from. Yeah. And we use it to identify each other. So if you're ever lost, it's the idea behind if you come from a nomadic society where you don't actually have a village or home where you stay and reside, if you're constantly on the move in order to feed your livestock, wherever, the rains hit, it's the idea of you always have your ancestor. You can always find each other. If you're lost, you'll always be able to find your way back home. Yeah. So I think I can get to about 5 generations. Yeah. But yeah.
That's interesting. So give me an example. Because you told me like your first name, middle name, surname, right? What it mean? I mean, for purposes of this, you don't have to sort of use your actual, your actual names. Yeah. But maybe if you could give an example, like if your name is what it actually means, because I thought that was fascinating.
Okay, so my first name is Warda. Let's just say my dad was called Mohammed. Yeah. So, and then my granddad was called Abdi. Yeah. My name would be Warda Mohammed Abdi. And then so on and so forth. So the idea is, my name's Warda, but you can tell from my name that I'm the daughter of Mohammed, who is the son of Abdi. So it's the idea that as far back as you can go, you know where you come from. And it's really cool because ultimately everybody has a common ancestor. Yeah. So I've actually got a good story for you. Yeah. I met one of my all-time like famous people that I've always wanted to meet. Her name is Adna Ad, and she was like the wife of one of the presidents. She's a great person. She's a nurse. She's built loads of hospitals in Somaliland. She's really done loads to ensure like the maternal mortality rate has been lowered. Yeah. I met her and then she asked me, who are you? Yeah. And I just responded, oh yeah, my name's Warda. And she was like, she looked at me, she was like, that's not what I mean. But obviously you don't understand. Yeah. So she asked me again. And it was obviously that idea of she wanted me to say, I'm Warda, daughter of so-and-so, until we got to our common ancestor. Yeah. Because she wanted to know who I am. Yeah. the lineage that I come from.
Yeah.
And it was that she was asking me. But obviously it flew over my head and I just thought she was asking for my name.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so there's a lot of history.
Did you find a common...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think she said her mum's clan and my clan are the same clan. So it's interesting what they're in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the, well, Maya Jama.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so because Maya Jama is half Somali, right?
Yes.
Do you know if she has like, if her name represents that, or maybe because there's been like cross-cultural stuff, like she hasn't taken...
I don't know, but Jama is a Somali surname.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So it might just be her dad's surname, but Jama is a Somali surname. So I don't know where she comes from, but
yeah. But at least that's an identifier.
She essentially, because it's patrilineal,
yeah,
she will have a clan. She'll be on the list somewhere.
Yeah.
And she will know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's amazing. Okay. So the question that I sort of thought about and just sort of taking a step back was in Somalia and Somaliland, which we'll come back to, how many tribes are they? Like,
so I would say they're more clans because they're all related to each other essentially.
Okay.
By lineage. So now I'm not exactly an expert. However, I would say there are probably like 5 main ones, but there are then sub clans.
Yeah.
So you have clans that are a lot larger than others, and they tend to probably stay in their geographical location more recently. So the Sak clan, they are from Somaliland. Yeah. But there are obviously other sub-clans. Yeah. And other smaller clans that are also in the north. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's a big tradition. Mm-hmm. So I think there are about 5 to answer your question.
And then in terms of language, how many languages are they?
I think this is very different to your interpretation of language in Zimbabwe. Yeah. But we only have one language. Everybody speaks Somali. Which is very different to other countries, especially in like neighboring countries. Yeah. So we have one language. The idea behind a lot of like the nationalism movement in Somalia is one language, one people. Yes. So it's very unique. Yeah. But obviously we also speak Arabic and the dialect will be different. Yeah. And there are some very small clans that will have a kind of a Swahili twist to the language that they speak.
Okay. That's interesting. I wonder if that's unique to... I'm sure there's many countries where there's just one language, right? But that's interesting. Because I was about to say in the United Kingdom, but then we've got Welsh. Yeah. Then we've got, is it Gaelic? Like the Scottish language? Or, I forget Irish? What. But I know, and then there's Irish, but I know like in Scotland there's a language which is sort of dying down, but it is there. Okay. And then, this is what I didn't know. So, so I've known like Somalia, the country, right? But I didn't know that Somaliland was different from Somalia. So if you can school us on that.
Yes. So I'll try and do this justice, but essentially Somaliland is a country in the northern part of Somalia. It borders Djibouti, Ethiopia and Somalia to the south. Yeah. It has about 6 million people, probably more if everybody's being counted. Yeah. It initially, before independence, in the 1960s, I would say, I think it was previously like a British protectorate in 1960. And then we gained independence and then we united with the South. So that continued till about 1991, where there was an independence war. And so a lot of the Somali people that you see in London would have come here in the early 80s, late 80s, just to kind of because they had to leave the country. And then you would have seen later waves of immigration from people in generally from southern Somalia in the 90s and the early 2000s. So Somaliland exists and has existed for as long as I've been born and alive. So I haven't known any different. And obviously growing up here, my kind of understanding of the country was quite limited until we visited in like 2009, which was great. I think the culture, the people, it's so vibrant, so lovely. I never really experienced just kind of belonging until I went. And so it was really interesting kind of just being there. But also like wishing to come back home because ultimately you want your comfort. You want to be back home. But it was great. The food, the culture, the language, the togetherness. It was amazing.
So you were telling me that in Somaliland, it's a self-governed state.
So we have elections. It's really peaceful zone. We have elections. They're democratic. And I hope that it remains that way because I think civil unrest is so detrimental to just ordinary people who just want to carry on and go to school and go to work and just be free and safe. So I wish that for everybody, all of our like African brothers and sisters and all over the continent.
Okay. But then I guess the difference is just that Somaliland is not really recognized by like the, I don't know, United Nations and whatever as like an independent state.
Exactly. Internationally. It's not recognized unanimously. There are some countries who do. And I think they have all the ingredients of an autonomous state. It's just that international recognition isn't there. And I'm not sure if that will change, but there's definitely arguments to be made for. But I think like most Somalilanders, they don't actually, I think on your day-to-day kind of, if you ask your day-to-day run-of-the-mill Somalilander, they are very content with, I don't know how to phrase
how
this,
things are,
but I would assume there are things, there are always things that need to be done better, but there are also things higher on the list than international recognition.
You
know? So,
it's not high on the list. And then like, I can only imagine that it can probably cause tensions with people that are like one nation, one language, Somalia, right? So when you're abroad, right? Like when you interact with other Somali people, is it something that you know instinctively that, oh, this person is a southerner, or you just know that through conversation?
There'll be identifiers.
Okay.
So I think when you have a conversation with a fellow person from like Zimbabwe, they'll speak and you'll kind of know because of their dialect where they're from. And so it's the same with Somalis. You can kind of hear them speak, you'll know. But generally, because we, like, for instance, all the people that I know grew up here. Most people probably have a difficult time speaking Somali. Probably what you'll hear is an English accent or an English twang or a few English words mixed in. What people like to call some English. So it definitely works when you have like the older generation, like our parents and stuff. But I don't know if it works so much with us. And also like I don't have conversations about politics with other Somali people, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I don't think that comes into day to day, because ultimately there is still this kind of like really close-knit community. Everybody really, I think, so I think with other Somali people, there's that close-knit community.
Yeah.
You are Somali, you're kind of accepted.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're very kind of loving, caring, they'll look after you, even if you're a stranger.
Yeah.
So I think that's first and foremost.
Yeah.
And so I think it doesn't really affect day-to-day interactions here.
Yeah.
If that's different back home, I wouldn't have a clue, but possibly.
Okay. And then so you talked about like the close-knit community. And am I correct to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, I always got the impression that the Somali community is quite close-knit and quite sort of like insular in its own way, that like, you know, like very different to Zimbabweans, I think, where Zimbabweans are like, yeah, we've got a community vibe, but then people are just like integrated like any and everywhere, right? Like you'll find a Zimbabwean in like in the smallest village in Scotland or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like like even like geographically and sort of like doing things as a community. I remember even like when I went to the States, I went to Minneapolis, the Twin City, and it was like, I was like, there's so many, like every other person was like Somali.
Oh yeah, no, that's a hub.
That's a hub. Right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I would disagree with you. I think Somalis generally just anywhere you go, you probably will find a Somali. I think what's probably different, and you'll have to kind of tell me whether or not this is true, is the fact that we try really hard to keep on to our traditions.
Okay.
And so when you come to a new country, for instance, you've got a group of people, whether they be your blood family or let's just say from the same clan you are, to help you integrate, right? So they help you with the language. They probably take you in, let you stay with them until you're kind of up on your feet. And it's the idea that actually back home, you would have like a village to help raise you or look after you, have a support system.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening is actually people, Somalis coming here, like who have immigrated, are trying to create that here to ensure that actually everybody's okay.
Yeah.
So when I haven't really seen people who kind of like to kind of just take themselves out of the community, but they obviously exist. But again, I think the Zimbabwean community is really small.
Yeah,
so maybe that's what it is, especially in London.
Yeah,
maybe that's what you've noticed.
Yeah. And I think also like just in terms of like things like marriage, for example, like I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Zimbabweans, there's a lot of like, you know, you naturally marry and form community, but it's not, I would say a lot more probably marry across cultures.
Okay.
Which then obviously just naturally has an impact in terms of the concentration of the community. But I get the impression that like with Somali people, am I correct in saying that there is an intentionality about try and, you know, like marry within your own?
So I would say somewhat. I'd partially agree with that. I think, look, we're in a country where the biggest faith is Christianity. So as a community that's largely Muslim, that will, at the very least, women will be less likely to marry somebody who's of another faith.
Yeah.
It's not impossible, but the large majority will probably decide to marry another Muslim.
Yeah.
Now, you get into the kind of other side issues of like, so religion's a big one, and then probably thinking about race.
Yeah.
So the other communities that are Muslim in the UK probably don't marry outside of their race.
Yes.
So the pool of people are already smaller.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think those are other factors that will probably contribute to that idea that like Somali people just marry other Somali people.
That makes sense. And then here's another question, which I hope I sort of say it right, but I'm gonna say it clumsily. Okay, like Okay, do Somali people consider themselves black?
Yes. But I think that we have to have a bit of a wider discussion to dig into why people may feel that they might not.
Yes.
So in the UK,
yeah,
the idea of blackness being the central focal part of your identity is a major thing.
Yeah.
Like all of the forms, who are you? You're a black British person, you're black African, you're black Caribbean. It's woven into the kind of like societal identifiers, right? Go back home, pick any country where that's predominantly black, any sub-Saharan African country.
Yeah.
Being black is not an identifier.
Right.
Everybody's got the same skin color.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in Somalia, when they ask you, who are you? You answer with your lineage, your clan. What clan do you belong with? When you go to, let's say, Nigeria, what tribe do you belong to? They won't ask you if you're black. The idea of blackness isn't something that I would say is an identifier.
Yeah.
So I think as some immigrants probably kind of struggle with the idea of like having a strong identity, a strong sense of nationalism, being taken out of that environment that's kind of developed your psyche, right? And then you get put into the UK and all of a sudden, all of these things that you are, that have history, your culture linked to them, they're all taken away and you're told about the idea of blackness, which is linked to your skin colour.
Yeah.
And if you think about the way that they think, all of the culture, the pride, the nationalism that's attached to clans and tribes. Yeah. Imagine all of that being kind of squashed into the idea that you're being, the first thing that's important about you is your skin colour. I think that's what they struggle with. Right. But when you're here, when you've grown up here, you have that pride, like I am black, I'm black, I'm a black Muslim woman, I'm a black African woman. And so you identify with that and you've been like brought up in that. And it's also very, like, it gives you a sense of community with other people because ultimately we only make up, 3 to 5% of the UK population?
Yep.
So as much as London skews your idea of how many black people there are, we are a very minute percentage.
Yeah. That's interesting. So I've heard this word and I hope it's not a bad word. What is Habesha? Habe.
Habesha?
Yeah, Habesha.
So Habesha, I think, is a word used to describe Ethiopian and Eritrean people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a shared, like, culture, Somalia, Eritrea?
No. So Ethiopian culture they have their own history. It's rich. So it's the same with Eritrea, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then there's Somali culture. I think they're very distinct. They've got their own kind of cultural, historical, richness.
But I guess maybe it's the Arabic influence.
Not even. No.
That is.
No, I would
similar.
say.
No,
I would disagree with you.
You
on
would,
that
but have you not heard that before?
So I think, unfortunately, what people do here is this idea that they lump Somalis, Ethiopians, and Eritreans together because of the way they look.
Yeah, no, and literally that's what I'm saying. No, but I'm just, but that's not because I'm saying, is that because of the Arabic sort of genes? No, no. So there is something there, though. Come on.
Look, okay, so you have to tell me, right?
Yeah.
I think East Africa is bigger than just those 3 countries.
No, it is.
And so there's
but like Kenya, Tanzania, that's different. Like, maybe Tanzania a little bit.
Okay.
But, I mean, no. But literally, I'm saying in terms of... I know it sounds... For example, I always say, like, Southern Africans have a look about them.
Okay, fine.
I can just look at them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is a Southern African. I won't say what the look is because I'll get cancelled.
Yeah.
No,
okay,
let me not say it.
Okay,
but
so
I'll
look.
tell you all.
So look, I would say to you, Somalis, that there's no one look, right? You have a whole array of people.
Yeah.
And their features are different. And so there's different communities that, quote unquote, will look more Arab, and there's communities that will look more like stereotypically Somali.
Yeah.
And there's also kind of groups that will look more like Kenyan, but also it's just geographical. It's who they've married into, where they've been. You know, are they on the border? Is that where they've always been? There's also Somalis in Kenya who have married Kenyan people. It's really hard. But I think that idea is probably, it's rooted in a lack of awareness, if I'm honest.
Is it? But Warda, like,
go on to TikTok.
You get what I mean, though.
Okay, so I need you to go to TikTok, right?
Yes.
And look at the Somali Bantu community.
Okay.
So have a look. They are very Somali.
Okay.
Yeah. But that would just, and then like there's also like the Bravanese people who are really light and they've got like green and blue eyes.
Oh.
So it's really different.
Yeah.
And I think as people like living in the UK, you might just see like the common looks and not really be aware of like the whole region. Like, you know, everybody looks different and there's like, there's no one thing. That's why I think culture's so important.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I hope that kind of tries to give you an answer that's, you know,
it does
helpful.
It does give me an answer. But what I will say is Somali people are beautiful, like absolutely.
Oh, that's really nice.
Like gorgeous. I also think Ethiopian Eritrean people, like that's a commonality for me.
Listen, African women, absolutely.
Of course.
Can I just say, Southern African women, the waists, the teeny tiny waistlines, models could not. Absolutely beautiful.
Yes. I will receive that on behalf. Although the waist part.
Listen, they are well endowed.
I'm muted from the chat, but you know what?
Listen.
No, okay. We do have to go now. But just one last thing, like the food. So we went out and I tried some. I was like, why is this cuisine like not up there? Like, guys, Somali food is chef's kiss. Amazing.
Yeah, I would just have to second that and be like, guys, go and if you haven't had Somali food, have some baris and hilib, which is rice and meat. You have to try it.
Yeah.
Because once you get a chance to try it, you'll be like hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And you know what? Warda, am I saying?
Nearly,
trying.
You're trying, yeah.
Warda. There's a lot of Somali people in Sweden. How is that?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been to Sweden.
But you know that there's loads there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have a friend, Ikram. She was Swedish. I think she was born in Sweden. So I always used to wonder, like, what was the connection? Like,
unfortunately, when once, you know, if you've got to leave your homeland, then you go where safe.
Yeah. And where there's other people.
And where there's other people.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people in Europe, a lot of people in the UK, a lot of people in America.
Yeah.
And Canada.
Yeah.
But also Somalis are everywhere. So big up to all the Somali listeners.
Yeah. Big up. No, I have enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much. If you guys are listening and we've got some things wrong where you're like, let us know with love.
Yes, please, guys. Kindness
with love. But I think it's really important to have these conversations. But yeah, no. Thank you so much. And guys, if there's anything you can take away, please try Somali food. Google like your local place. Like, you have to try it. Is there any last words before we close?
No, I was just going to say, like, any stories I've shared are probably stories that I've heard from, like, parents, the Somali diaspora. It's very much a romanticized tale. But for those of you who want to kind of listen, thank you. And thank you for having me as well.
Thank you for being here. So, guys, chat with Nat. See you later. Bye.